Paul Heyman brings Brock Lesnar to help Roman Reigns, the best and worst of WWE Raw. Condolences to Dominik Mysterio. Rhea Ripley breaks silence after her return to WWE Raw. Becky Lynch breaks silence after her retirement claims. Joe Gacy betrays Uncle Howdy and joins the Final Testament. Alexa Bliss sends a message after Cody Rhodes comments about her. Solo Sikoa makes a big mistake on WWE Raw. Let's dive right in. The best and worst of WWE Raw. After Bronson Reed joined Solo Sikoa's team on SmackDown as its fifth member, the fallout was likely to continue on the ensuing episode of Raw. Sami Zayn and the Usos attempted to recruit Seth Rollins again, and his answer may have changed following the main event. The Women's War Games match also saw a huge shift in dynamics, thanks to the return of a major player. Braun Breaker put the Intercontinental title on the line against Sheamus. The War Raiders took on the Judgment Day's Dominik Mysterio and Carlito, ahead of a shot at Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Here's the best and worst of the latest episode of Raw November 18th, 2024. Number 1. Best. Rhea Ripley is back. The Women's War Games angle opened this week's Raw. Liv Morgan came out with Raquel Rodriguez and then called out the SmackDown reinforcements. Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae joined Morgan in the ring. Bianca Belair then came out with her super team, but was one member short. Liv mocked her for this, but turned tail when Rhea Ripley returned with a face mask to protect her broken orbital bone. The women's division desperately needs big names and other faces that can be featured. It's nice that Morgan and Jax have had time as champions in 2024, but both of their runs have been average. Number 2. Worst. The logic behind building both Women's War Games teams. The face team for War Games includes Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Sky, Naomi, and Ripley. Belair, Cargill, and Naomi have been friends on and off on SmackDown and are friends again for War Games. Sky battled Belair and Cargill while pursuing tag team gold. Since she's now focused on singles gold, that facet of their relationship has been glossed over. The heel team has the same problems. Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax have been feuding with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the last month. Morgan cheated to beat Jax at Crown Jewel, and Jax simply said she didn't like either woman. Paving over the literal last few months of storytelling is something that Vince McMahon was famous for. Had there been a few more segments with conversations between the sides, the building wouldn't have felt random and illogical. Another problem is that, like last year, the face team has 3 super faces: Belair, Cargill, Ripley, and won't lose. Number 3. Best. Final Testament Wyatt 6 feud gets dueling promos. While appearing again would have been more effective, both Karrion Kross and Bo Dallas are great at selling their feuds in promos. These can be in the ring, backstage, or pre-taped offerings like the latest Raw. Kross and The Miz shot first, claiming that they were the ones dealing the hand that was being played with the Wyatt 6. Kross has cut numerous promos that should have aired on Raw. Instead, they were saved as digital or social media exclusives. Dallas also cut a tense promo warning Miz that he was warned. Everything that comes next, including the blood on his hands, is his fault. Pre-taped feuds and vignettes don't always land, but both Kross and Dallas hit home runs on Raw. Number 4. Worst. Not proud to be American-made. When Chad Gable ditched Alpha Academy and formed American-Made, it felt like this stable would move him up the card. After a few months, that is clearly not the case. Gable's group was the first prey of the Wyatt 6 and lost the feud. Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega defeated Gable and Ivy Nile in mixed tag team action. Neither faction accompanied their team. The Creeds only emerged after Gable's side lost. He slapped them and got in their face. They eventually fired each other up and then posed like they won a match. The whole Raw segment leaves too many questions. Where were the Creeds, and why did they pop up so quickly after the loss? Why did they pose like they did something meaningful? The entire partnership has been a missed opportunity. Number 5. Best. The Bloodline forces Seth Rollins' hand. Seth Rollins turned down another offer to join the OG Bloodline for War Games. He claimed he'd fight beside the Usos and Zayn, but not for the tyrannical Roman Reigns. He's not wrong for his feelings due to Reigns' years of lording over WWE. Just because he's being cheered currently doesn't absolve him of his misdeeds in the recent past. That logic makes sense and doesn't insult the fans' intelligence like the random building of the Women's War Games teams. Solo Sikoa's team then made its presence felt in the Raw main event between Rollins and Bronson Reed. Sikoa distracted Rollins as he went to the top for a frog splash. It allowed Reed to take advantage and get the win. While Rollins wanted to stay out of it, his hand was forced by the upstart Bloodline. Will he reluctantly agree to join Zayn for one night like last year? Will Roman apologize or recruit Rollins himself? That would mean a lot more than sending everyone else out to do all the work. Number 6. Worst. Does Raw still have World Tag Team Champions? JD McDonough and Finn Balor won the World Tag titles by defeating the Awesome Truth back in June. Since then, they've only defended the titles once. on September 16th against The New Day. Instead of having a random tournament to determine challengers, the champs should have already put the belts on the line. They could have faced the War Raiders on this week's Raw, but Eric and Ivar had to fight Carlito and Dominik Mysterio instead. The booking has been among the worst the titles have seen over the last 5 years. The Motor City Machine Guns have been involved in 3 title matches since debuting last month. What's the holdup? Number 7. Best and worst. Sheamus versus Braun Breaker had great potential. On paper, Sheamus's challenge for a title while he's nearly 46 may not be appealing in 2024. He's been a trusted veteran since 2009, but has slowed down a lot over the last few years. Braun Breaker is a force of nature and one of the focal points of the new era. He should be facing other names like Dragon Lee, Bronson Reed, or even Rollins, but all 3 are busy elsewhere on Raw. Despite that dynamic, the 2 put in one of the better matches on Raw of the last few months. Sheamus matched Breaker's physicality and could have legitimately won a few times. Ludwig Kaiser interfered, and the match ended via disqualification, killing the great momentum built by the 2 competitors. It feels like WWE wants to give Sheamus a run as Intercontinental Champion, since it's the one title he's never held. Condolences to Dominik Mysterio, WWE superstar. Dominik Mysterio and the Mysterio family have suffered a grave personal loss. Dominik's grandfather and Rey Mysterio's father have passed away. Roberto Gutierrez Sr., Rey's father, was born on February 29, 1948. He passed away at the age of 76 on November 17, 2024, leaving the Mysterio family in mourning. Rey posted an emotional message on his official Instagram handle earlier today announcing his father's death. The WWE Hall of Famer thanked his father for giving him the life he has. He also pointed out that his father set an example of how to build a strong marriage and raise 4 children. In the post, Rey assured his dad that he would always look out for his mom now that he isn't around anymore. Rey Mysterio and Dominik are 2 of the biggest names in WWE today. While Rey has already established himself as a legit all-time great, Dominik is on his way to being one. He's already done quite well for himself in a short span of time and is one of the most hated heels on the WWE roster. Rhea Ripley breaks silence after her return to WWE Raw. Rhea Ripley returned during WWE Raw. Her return came during last week's tapings of tonight's show, and she has finally broken her silence. During WWE Raw, the women were facing each other across the ring as they got ready for what appeared to be a brawl. As Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae formed an unlikely team. They faced off with Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Sky, and Naomi. Ripley came out to interrupt them and made it clear what was going to happen, as she said, "War Games," and headbutted Liv Morgan. The match has now been confirmed by WWE. Ripley sent a message soon after, breaking her silence since the appearance last week. She posted the Reincarnate music video by Motionless in White and posted some of the lyrics, showing that she had been reincarnated and that she was coming after Morgan and Rodriguez, despite her injury and having to wear a mask. "I won't bite my tongue. I am not afraid spineless. A dominion of nothing is all you will reign, you laugh. But what did you create? B, you give a F-King aspirin a headache." Fans will have to wait and see what's next for the Stars as they head into War Games. Both teams will be trying to get the better of the other at Survivor Series. Becky Lynch breaks silence after her retirement claims. It has nearly been 6 months since Becky Lynch last appeared in a WWE ring, with her contract ending shortly afterward. Amid her current hiatus, the former Raw Women's Champion has finally revealed what the future holds for her. Lynch has been subject to constant speculation, especially after Liv Morgan repeatedly claimed that she retired the man. The current Women's World Champion defeated her in a steel cage match on the May 27th episode of Raw. So that's why it was so important for Becky Lynch to set the record straight during her panel at the Vulture Festival. Sporting a brand new look, the man stated that she will be returning to WWE without revealing much else. As per those who attended her panel, the man simply said that she wasn't going to go out with Dominik Mysterio slamming a cage door in her face, which is how her last match with Morgan ended. "If you think I'm going to go out with Dominik slamming a cage door in my face, that's definitely not going to happen," said Lynch. However, the Irish star reportedly added that she has a lot going on right now and is happy with what she is doing. This means Lynch's WWE return might still be a while away. Recent reports have stated that Becky Lynch may have already agreed to a new deal with WWE and that she will be back in time for Raw's debut on Netflix. The show already has a stacked roster, with John Cena, Roman Reigns, and others being advertised. Lynch could go straight for Liv Morgan if she is still the Women's World Champion. Whether or not the man regains the title is another question, though. She could have storylines with many other women too, including Lyra Valkyria and a WrestleMania rematch with Rhea Ripley. Whatever is next for Becky Lynch upon her WWE return, one thing is certain: the Raw Women's division has sorely missed her. Joe Gacy betrays Uncle Howdy and joins the Final Testament. The Wyatt Six and Uncle Howdy storyline storyline with the Final Testament moved forward on the recent Raw, as both factions sent warnings to each other. Bo Dallas also sent a major warning to The Miz, stating that he would suffer the consequences of his actions. However, amid this, there is speculation that Wyatt Six member Joe Gacy might betray the horror faction and align himself with Karrion Kross's faction. The reason behind this speculation comes from a recent post on Kross's official X account. He posted a video in which he tried to manipulate Joe Gacy into backstabbing the Wyatt Six, claiming that Uncle Howdy was merely using them. This angle could be further incorporated into the television storyline, where Kross could attempt to meet with Joe Gacy backstage and manipulate him. If his manipulation succeeds, fans could see Gacy stab Uncle Howdy's faction in the back and eventually join the Final Testament. An angle like this would help WWE maintain the fans' interest in the storyline and allow the Stamford-based promotion to stretch the narrative over the coming weeks. Furthermore, the current scenario seems to be planting the seeds for long-term storytelling between these two factions, making Joe Gacy betraying Uncle Howdy a real possibility. It will be interesting to see how the storyline unfolds on Monday Night Raw as we approach Survivor Series War Games 2024. The faction feud between these two groups on Monday Night Raw has surely generated interest among fans. However, it seems that WWE may have already made a major mistake with this feud by missing the opportunity to book a War Games match between the two factions. Many fans on the internet believe that the Women's War Games match doesn't seem necessary this year. Instead, the promotion could have booked Wyatt Six and the Final Testament in the double ring structure match. This match could have taken the excitement surrounding the feud to a whole new level. Additionally, it would have given WWE the chance to have the Wyatt Six faction compete as a whole and showcase their skills in the ring together. However, it doesn't seem like WWE will book this match now that the Women's War Games match is already official. On the men's side, the Bloodline Civil War is set to take place. For now, we'll have to wait and see how WWE will book Uncle Howdy in the coming weeks, and whether the Wyatt Six will be incorporated into the Survivor Series Premium Live event. Alexa Bliss sends a message after Cody Rhodes comments about her. Alexa Bliss has sent a message after Cody Rhodes commented about her earlier. The star has said what she thinks of him. Recently, Cody Rhodes was asked about his thoughts about the best WWE theme song, and he decided to name hers the best one of the lot. It's Alexa Bliss, best theme song going in the business. It's the best. Alexa Bliss saw the clip of Cody Rhodes talking about and fanboying out to her theme. After he said that her theme was the best, she had something to say. She said that he had great taste in music. The two stars have not interacted with each other since Cody Rhodes' return, given that she has been away from the ring for most of the time, dealing with her health issues. Now, though, clearly appreciative of Rhodes loving her music, it remains to be seen what happens when she returns, and if the two of them cross paths. For now, it's not clear when Bliss will return, as there does not seem to be a clear timeline for her return to the WWE ring. When it finally happens, though, fans will be sure to explode, as this is a return that they have been waiting a long time for. Solo Sikoa makes a big mistake on WWE Raw. Solo Sikoa may have just made himself an enemy on WWE Raw this week after a moment with Seth Rollins. The star appeared on the show. Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed both gave their all as they battled one another in the match. The two stars were keen to put each other on the shelf given their history. With Reed heading into War Games as the fifth member of the Bloodline team, he has also become a big factor in the Bloodline storyline, and they were present early on to help him win. However, it was not quite that easy, as Jimmy and Jey Uso, as well as Sami Zayn, came out to support Seth Rollins. During the match, both stars came close to getting the win. After a frog splash failed to put him away, Seth Rollins was growing more desperate. It looked like things were over for Reed. However, when Solo Sikoa finally came out and stood in the ringside area, the trajectory of the match took a turn. This was the distraction that Bronson Reed needed, and he took full advantage, putting Rollins away and picking up the win. This led to Rollins suffering even more. It came after the star had said that he wouldn't team with Roman Reigns. With the Bloodline becoming a pain for him as well, though, and Solo Sikoa helping Bronson Reed in his course of destruction, Rollins won't be happy. Whether or not this is the final straw for Seth Rollins to join teams with Roman Reigns remains to be seen. Now, he may choose to side with him after all, but fans will have to wait until it's confirmed. Paul Heyman brings Brock Lesnar to help Roman Reigns. During the recent episode of WWE Raw, the OG Bloodline members once again tried to recruit a fifth member for the Survivor Series War Games match, but failed. This occurred when Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso confronted Seth Rollins backstage and urged him to join their side against the Solo Sikoa faction and Bronson Reed. Rollins responded by affirming that he was willing to team up with Zayn and the Usos. However, he could never imagine aligning with Roman Reigns again due to past actions that deeply hurt him. Furthermore, by rejecting the idea of reconciliation, Rollins warned the OG Bloodline of the possible consequences they might face if Roman Reigns retains all his power. During the main event, Roman Reigns' faction took out Bloodline 2.0, but a distraction from Solo Sikoa allowed Reed to emerge victorious over the Visionary. However, there is still no confirmation on who will be the fifth member of the OG Bloodline for War Games. Let's discuss 3 WWE stars who could potentially fill the role of the OG Bloodline's fifth member following Seth Rollins' refusal on Raw. At Bad Blood 2024, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns teamed up against Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, resulting in a victory for the OG Bloodline. With no one else seemingly on their side, the faction might now turn to the American Nightmare for help. Currently, the undisputed WWE champion is involved in a feud with Kevin Owens, but the prizefighter has yet to make an appearance on SmackDown. Additionally, reports suggest that a match between Owens and Rhodes is set for Saturday night's main event. With this in mind, Rhodes joining the OG Bloodline for War Games becomes a realistic possibility following Seth Rollins' refusal on Raw. Paul Heyman was recently reintroduced into the Bloodline saga when Roman Reigns attempted to contact him, but his number was out of service. This seems to hint at the Wiseman's return to the family drama. However, Heyman could return alongside the fifth member of the OG Bloodline, potentially Brock Lesnar. Both Lesnar and Heyman share a long history in WWE, having been allies for many years. With Lesnar currently on hiatus, it's possible that if WWE decides to bring him back, he could be introduced as the fifth member of Roman Reigns' faction. This could happen when the special counsel brings him into WWE and officially adds him to the team. Another name who might join the OG Bloodline after Seth Rollins' refusal is CM Punk. The best in the world is expected to be part of Survivor Series War Games 2024, but there has been no clear storyline for him within the company. This raises the chances of him being the surprise addition as the fifth member of the OG Bloodline. Punk and Heyman shared a reunion segment after WrestleMania 40, where the best in the world forgave the Wiseman for his past actions. Given the strong bond between Heyman and Punk, it's possible that the special counsel could bring him back as the final member of the OG Bloodline for the War Games match.